A Twitter employee went on to Twitter to ask Elon Musk, hey, am I still employed? Because this is the state of things over at Twitter. He asked him why he didn't have access to his work computer. These are the initial tweets here and the initial conversation. This employee says, Dear Elon Musk, 9 days ago, the access to my work computer was cut along with about 200 other Twitter employees. However, your head of HR is not able to confirm if I'm an employee or not. You have not answered my emails. And he's asking him about it. Elon goes, what work have you been doing? He says, well, I'd have to break confidentiality to answer. Elon Musk grants his request. Again, this is unprofessional to say the least. But here we go. They're going to have this.
This is a boss fucking showing like his power.
Yeah,
like
he's
demeaning the guy, and we should say his name. His name is Haraldur Thorleifsson. He goes by Holly as a nickname, and we'll get into his background. But is at this point, this guy is just, as far as we knew when this happened, a Twitter employee, literally just asking, after going through every internal step he could possibly go through to find out without making a big fuss about it. He just wants to know if he has a job or not, so he can figure things out. Like the guy's not arguing, I want my, he's not going at it. He's literally saying, could you just let me know if I have a job or not? And that's it.
And Musk is too much of a bitch to engage with him privately. He wants his fanboys to be behind him because even though he's one of the richest men on earth, he's still too weak to actually have a conversation with somebody. So this is part. Yeah.
I was going to say the word that describes it to me is just unprofessional. And I know a lot of times that term is a coded term to like exclude people from certain jobs that, because of their ethnic background or religious background. But in this case, it's very true. He's unprofessional. He doesn't understand that there are laws and norms too, but just laws that govern the way you need to treat your employees in multiple jurisdictions. And instead, he thinks he can treat his employees like a random shit poster online, treat someone who doesn't like their article or doesn't like their podcast or doesn't like their other product. When you can't, you'll be sued. And he doesn't seem to understand laws either. So it's very interesting to watch all this play out. Like someone who's been lauded as this great businessman, this sort of great strategist. Oh no, he doesn't understand how any of this stuff works. He doesn't understand how product design works. Doesn't understand how coding works. Doesn't understand how businesses operate, how they find revenue. It's quite something to watch. And maybe it's just because
he's quite stupid and unprofessional. But let's get to part 2 of this here. So this interaction continues because we have some prelude before it gets to the most ridiculous. He responds with what he does, a bullet point stuff. Elon says a lot of stuff Holly lists that he does professionedge.
I mean, just to mention some level up from what design to what Pixar didn't happen. So this is just a fucking Reddit 4chan edgelord, and I appreciate him being this public.
That's what Elon says back.
Yeah, that's what Elon says back.
Pixar didn't happen about one of his employees.
And to the unprofessionalism point, I'm glad that we're getting such a view of how these sort of lords of creation, there's a biographer following Elon Musk around and that's going to try to paint him as some sort of Steve Jobs style guru, but actually all these guys are fucking power tripping morons, and it's good to see that so plainly. He posts the clip from Office Space.
Oh yeah, complete psycho. So that's part 1 of it. Part 2 here is the Elon then responds to the person who aggregated this conversation and put it out there. This is what Elon says. The reality is that this guy, who is independently wealthy, did no actual work, claimed as his excuse that he had a disability that prevented him from typing, yet was simultaneously tweeting up a storm. Can't say I have a lot of respect for that. I mean, that sounds like you, right? Pretending to work but tweeting the whole time.
Look, I'm in favor of being nasty to people who are independently wealthy, who were born into wealth, like Elon Musk himself. I think it's weird for somebody who is born into wealth, whose family had a stake in sort of apartheid descendant emerald mines, to make that point about somebody who is not, and actually just lie about it.
Yeah, and I think it's also weird for somebody who like presumably has HR records about this man and his disability to come on into public and argue that he is in fact not disabled, or at least not as disabled as he claims to be, because that is just, again, very unprofessional and probably going to open you up to some sort of legal action.
He has muscular dystrophy. And by the way, there are many, many programs where people who can type and tweet or do whatever the hell they want to do when they are disabled with different programs.
Could we take a look at the Twitter fact check?
Yes, this is what I'm trying to get to this. So the response. Wait, that's not the right fact check. I sent my screenshot, the initial one. So I guess that's changed. Well, this is still notable in and of itself. So this new like reader function is so hilarious because initially this is what it said when you clicked on this tweet where he responded essentially making fun of his disability. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. After sending this tweet, Elon spoke directly with the former Twitter employee and subsequently admitted that he was wrong and apologized to the former employee. Elon also invited him back to Twitter. So this is this new function on Twitter. Readers might want to know this. Actually, that just sounds like you sent a text to your assistant who sent it to the person who does this for Twitter, and they copy and pasted it into there.
Birdwatch has really gone down. Yeah, but that's exactly what happened. But this is a client. He has. Sorry, this is a sign. He has clear terminal brain online poisoning, or rather, online brain poisoning.
Also,
and he thinks
no, go ahead. Sorry.
I guess, and when you get that, you just think that the rest of the world should operate like your preferred social media platform. And when you come into contact with the fact that no one else believes that, you have a lot of trouble.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we should. I also want to say, like, he didn't have this should be clear. He didn't have a sudden change of heart. It sounds like someone involved in Twitter's counsel or one of Elon Musk's lawyer friends called him up and said, "You better fix this, or it's going to be very expensive." People tried to say, like, I saw some people saying, "Oh, Holly, the designer who Elon Musk was attacking here." He's a disability activist and advocate. He has been out and open about his story of having muscular dystrophy, being wheelchair bound for 20 years now, and that somehow means that it's not private information. Elon was, first of all, I don't think just because you decide to talk about your disability or whatever, that gives your employer open range to just shit all over you for it. But second of all, in terms of like but second of all, also, the whole thing where the guy told them that he was having trouble typing because of his disease, that's not something that was out there. That's something he privately went to Twitter and said, "Hey, I'm having trouble recently because my muscular dystrophy is getting worse." Like, you can't do that. You can't talk to people about what issues someone's having because of their disability, even if everyone knows what their disability is. Very bizarre. But yeah, this guy, the worst possible person that Elon could have gone after. I don't know if you have all the details and you wanted to go through it, but this guy recently won the Icelandic Person of the Year award. He works for Twitter because his design agency became so big over the years that Twitter wanted him and his team specifically working in-house. Didn't want to share him and his team with the rest of the companies, hiring them for contract work, and acquired his company just to hire him and his team. So this guy's also very respected in the design industry.
Yeah, I got a tweet. Go ahead. I got a tweet from August 18, 2022 of Holly saying, "Every year tax records in Iceland are made public. I was hoping, if you can expand, maybe that's it. Yeah. I was hoping that I was hoping I'd be the person that paid the highest amount in tax." What's up? I was hoping I'd be the person that paid the highest amount in taxes last year, but I was number 2 and proudly accepted that honor to pay back society and gave working class disabled kid free education and health care.
Right, and we should say he didn't just say that because he got a big paycheck from getting his company acquired. He literally worked out a deal with Twitter when they acquired his company to get paid in the method that would maximize how much he would pay in taxes. He didn't take the usual acquisition deal, when you get paid out in a lump sum or via shares, so you get to pay minimal taxes because that's taxed differently.
Yeah.
He chose a method where the acquisition money would be added to his salary and included in that. So it was taxed at the highest rate possible because he wanted to thank, like you said, the Icelandic social welfare system for helping him when he needed it, and he wanted to pay it forward and help others who need it.
Yeah. This is from Wikipedia Binder. In early 2021, Haraldur sold Uino to Twitter. In an agreement between him and Twitter, most of the purchase price was paid as salary to maximize the tax he would pay for the sale in Iceland. He chose to pay for tax out of respect to Iceland for the disability benefits he received. Per the agreement, he paid the second highest tax of an individual in Iceland in 2021. I mean, that is... profoundly heroic. It's the sort of thing that used to be celebrated. Even Elon Musk would nod to Benjamin Franklin making his stove patent free for everybody as he's doing something self-interested to try to lock in the charging technology. But that's amazing.
Right.
He's taking our tax money and using it to kill monkeys.
Yeah.
That's really...
And to make electric cars where the ports are not going to be universal, so he can try to that also explode. Yeah.
But this
he knows that the only way Americans will...
The Elon sycophants, when they saw this whole conversation play out, they were just telling this guy, listen, you got locked out of your computer. Just move on, leave, get to... But here's the thing. That very thing we just discussed is why he can't just move on. Because if Twitter fires him as part of that deal, they need to then make that acquisition whole immediately and pay him in one lump sum what's owed of him. Meaning that Elon Musk would have to pay out the entirety of the rest of that acquisition deal from an acquisition that was made before he bought the company.
Yes.
And
Business
so,
genius.
Right. So that's why the guy wants to know if he's fired. He wants to know what's going on with the rest of his money, obviously. But also, this came out via Platformer, who's been an outlet that's been on top of this. This guy, Hali, was previously on an internal Twitter list of people not to fire because that exit package would be too much to pay out, and it just made more sense to keep them on the payroll. And Musk apparently, I don't know if he fired the person in charge of tracking that do not fire list or what's going on there, but clearly, Twitter's not paying attention to these things, and Elon Musk is just shooting himself in the foot left and right.
Beautiful. We love it. We'd love to see it.